Howdy gang, I've just been doing some stuff around the house today, getting things cleaned up and just normal stuff in life that we all have. And you know, I thought I'd bring you along for one thing that it's long overdue. I've needed to do for 6 months. But first and foremost, that's the first time this has happened, at least that I realize it. But new subscriber to the channel, just so happens to be my mother. So, hey mama, I love you, Patty. Anyway, shout outs done. This one's different. You know, I can't take credit for this idea. I read it somewhere, I saw it somewhere, but honestly guys, I can't remember where. So this is not my idea, but this is how I do it. Where I read an article, it may have been on lifehacker.com. I'm pretty sure that's where it was, but I can't swear by it. I don't do this exactly how the article that I read said, but you know, we all adapt different chores to our own devices, I guess, our own preferred way of doing things. Soap. Used soap in the shower. We all end up with leftover pieces. Now I hate using pieces like this. It takes forever, and you know, a shower is a wonderful thing, but in a family of 6 people, it's always rushed. And you know, I hate having to take that little bitty piece and try to get as much soap out of it as possible. So they end up, you know, on the side of the shower and then either thrown away or, you know, a Ziploc bag somewhere. But anyway, we've in my household we've started taking to saving them and reusing them, and this is how we reuse them, or recycle. Soap recycling, I guess. So all you need here is a pot, a heat source. In this case, we're going to use my barbecue, and a bowl, just a metal bowl. I don't aluminum, stainless steel, whatever. I don't think it really matters. Basically, all we're going to do is set up a double boiler and melt this down and make a really big chunk of soap. So, show you how I do it. Alright gang, first and foremost, we got to get the water on to boil. How's that for stating the obvious? Alright gang, well obviously we are at a boil. Pretty good one at that. You take all your soap, put it in there, and actually that bowl doesn't sit as far down in there as I thought, so take our handy dandy water bottle, add a little bit more water. Now one thing that I do differently than what the article on, like I said, I think it's lifehacker.com is where I read this, but I can't guarantee it. I add just a bit of water to the soap, just to kind of help, you know, get the heat going. You will, I mean, that water will come out in the melting, boiling process, but anyway, they don't call for it. I use it. You know, if you choose to do this, you figure out which way works best for you, because you know, like you guys have heard me say many times, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, and probably most of them work. So alright, well, let's get that double boiler going and we'll come back. Alright guys, well, we're about 10 minutes into this double boil process. As you might be able to notice, the level of the soap has gone down just a little bit. This is a long process, and I'll be honest, this is more soap chunks or whatnot than I've ever done before. But it does melt down. It's just a slow process to get it there. I'm guessing about an hour and a half. So you know, obviously you can't just do this on a whim in a free 5 or 10 minutes. So and anyway, let's I'll bring it back in once this gets more melted down and you can actually see a big change in the consistency of the soap. Well, alright gang, that's just about where I want it. There's still a few teeny tiny little chunks in there, but you know, once this thing solidifies, you probably won't even notice it. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the heat off, try to kind of flatten this out a little bit. As you can see, just little teeny tiny chunks. If I left this on for a while longer, it would go ahead and melt those in, but you know, again, like I said, once it solidifies, you won't notice it at all when you're actually using the soap. So let's turn the heat off, and I'm going to let this cool down overnight, and then I will show you how I get it out of the bowl. You know, most people, and again, I assume most people, the article that I read, you know, they poured it into molds and, you know, smoothed it out and, you know, made forms and all this stuff. Well, you know, I guess call me a lazy or whatnot, but I leave it in the bowl, let it cool down, and then I take it out of the bowl and cut it up into usable chunks. So yeah, anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. Alright gang, we're back. Well, I told you I was going to leave the soap overnight. Life got in the way, and it's been a week, maybe a week and a half. Good grief, it may have even been 2 weeks. These things just kind of run together. But anyway, trying something new this time. Just had an epiphany, maybe a good one or a bad one. I thought about last night. I knew I was going to do this today, so I thought, hey, you know what? Instead of just air drying it, let's throw it in the freezer, because you know, changing temperature, it contracts or expands. Boiled most of the water out of the soap, so I'm really hoping it, you know, contracted. Let's bring you down here so you can see what I see. As you can see, the freezing process has separated it from somewhat around the edges of the bowl. It's still attached over here. I'm really hoping I can just flip this thing over and pop it once, or you know, maybe twice, on top of this paper towel, and it come out of there. Usually what I do is I take a propane torch and run it around the outside just to kind of slightly melt the soap that's in contact with the bowl, and then flip it over and just let it cool back down. But anyway, without further ado, well, that worked out really well. So the freezing trick works. As you can see, and I do this about every time. This is actually probably one of my better times. It did burn a little bit right there, but that's not going to affect anything. It's ugly for sure. You know, it's not a bar of soap. You know, I don't care enough to make molds and pour it into. I just care about functionality. Let this harden or soften back down to room temperature, and I'll be honest, guys. All we do is cut it into chunks as we need it. You know, just cut a chunk and use that as a bar of soap. And then when that gets too small to use, pop that on the side of the shower. I'll put it in a Ziploc bag next time, you know, or next time I'm in the shower or see it there, and save it up for another 6-8 months, or in this case it's been probably 12 or 18 months. But and you know, add it back into this process. So there's very likely soap in here that you know, we've been using for, you know, 5 years or more. So anyway, guys, that is how I recycle soap. Anyway, I thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or send me a private message, or send me an email at joe@feralwoodcraft.com. And again, Mom, hello. It's kind of weird to have you as a subscriber. Anyway, love you, Mama. Good to have you hanging with us, I guess. So anyway, that's that. I don't know what else to say. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, joe@feralwoodcraft.com, or private message. So, alright gang, have a good week, and I guess probably at this point I'll see you in the next 52 Ferro Fire Series.